5. Okay. All right. Live from Dumont, New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, of course, and then up in Massachusetts. We have an emergency pod tonight, or is this a vlog? I don't know. I really don't care. But we got some things to air out. Diamond Dan, Jay-Z, me, Beef, Seth, and there's some things happening here that are agitating all of us, I think, and we're going to try to make some sense out of it. Guys, how are you tonight? Are you as agitated as I am?
The agitateometer is pegged at about 100% right now. I actually just almost poured my coffee all over the floor. I cannot control myself, apparently. So we're going to see how this goes. There was no plan to have a show, but there is so much bullshit going on in New York sports that we needed to get it out and not let it carry into the weekend. Sorry, because we have better things to think about over the weekend.
Has John Harbaugh signed in New York yet?
No, he hasn't. Dan, how are you, by the way? How's everything up north?
We Giants to be back.
I had an idea, Dan. Your kids, they're great. So I think you, me, and Jason should just step off this podcast and let them host. We'll keep our boxes open here, and they can just because they have. I mean,
Texans game.
I knew they had a lot of personality, but what I'm hearing is great. It's gold. So,
oh my goodness! Think about this. 6 years ago, we did our shows, and these guys were just they were 6 years younger. That's what they were.
But
now they're playing football.
They grew up in a sports house, of course. So, I think Mrs. Sadowski or Mrs. Diamond, is pulling hard for the Patriots this weekend, but I'm not sure it's gonna pull. I'm not sure it's gonna work for them. So Texans can pull off an away win.
The Giants weren't going to make it to the playoffs in week 1.
Well, the Giants. But we'll talk about the Giants later.
We're not talking about the Giants never making it to the playoffs in the next 1,000 years.
See,
oh boy,
Uncle Seth and Uncle Jason got to see the Giants win 2 glorious Super Bowls against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also saw Eli hit Ballard in the end zone.
Oh,
Seth, that's not a flattering freeze frame either.
We got internet problems. The Verizon thing is coming back.
What's going on?
Oh no, they've done it again.
That means Iran is here for the
Seth, we lost you for a minute, and your face was frozen, and we thought you got attacked.
I'm gonna have to hit Verizon up for a $20 credit. That's just unacceptable. So $20 a minute. All right. So I've already been warned, right? Because my voice carries here through the vents. I'm all the way downstairs.
That's it.
And I warned my wife and I warned my daughter that there could be some language. And my daughter's at the point where she's starting to hear this, even at second grade. She's starting to hear these things in school anyway. So I've been told to please try to keep the cursing to a minimum and the frustration to a minimum because my voice tends to carry as Taki checks in from Osaka, Japan.
Our most dedicated viewer. Thank you, Taki.
But no, the real reason is the real reason, guys, that I wanted to do this tonight was I just wanted to talk about the progress of the new arena that's replacing the Calgary Flames arena, the Saddle Dome. That's why I wanted to talk about this.
Saddle Dome will live forever.
Yeah. All right. So John Harbaugh, here it is, right? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
What do we think about John Harbaugh?
Is this drags on? I'm noticing the agitation on social media and circles beyond that is growing. It's intensifying. And I'm going to try to calm everybody down here. This is how I'm going to do it.
No.
I have not seen, and there have been some great sources here. You really have to know who the sources close to the team are, right? So, Ian O'Connor from The Athletic, Ian Rappaport, obviously, Mike Garafolo, those guys, Tom Pelissero, Adam Schefter, those guys, they're close to the situation, and not one of them has raised any concern. Gary Myers as well. And they haven't raised any concern.
Dan loves Adam Schefter.
Well, I would like to first attribute Ian O'Connor to the Rockland Journal News.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rocklander.
As an original Gannett, reporter. I think he's a bootstrap reporter, and I'll give him that, right? Is that how the Giants are working this, though? Are they working it through the media?
Yeah, I mean, he's been dialed in from this. He's been dead on with this from the first minute. There are a lot of people on social media that pretend to be insiders or they, think they're close to the situation. But I think we have to stick to the people that know what they're doing and are close to it. And as Giants fans, given what's going on over the last decade plus, we are conditioned to the worst right now. And you can't fault us for feeling this way. I find myself checking my phone every 2 minutes while I'm trying to do my full-time job during the day, and it's shaking my concentration. I'm checking all my Twitter notifications sometimes when I'm on calls. Don't tell clients that. But I don't think there's cause for concern, although, and I'll tee up you guys with this, all the reports I'm reading from these reliable sources seem to think that there's an issue with the chain of command or the power distribution, the reporting, Harbaugh, Shane. I'm not sure of any more detail than that, but that seems to be what's going on right now.
Well, I get it. I understand. We have nothing but misery in New York sports, not just the Giants. So I understand the consternation or even constipation about this. Because when have we had something good happen to us? So I appreciate you trying to calm us down, Seth, because I think everyone's got a good case of PTSD right now.
Yeah. Dan?
I want to believe that this is happening, and I feel like the Giants have done an interesting job of transmitting this through the media, but I will not believe it until it happens. Until that press conference happens, whether it's Tuesday, whether it's Wednesday, whether it's in 3 months from now, they need to lock it down. And I think over the time, we have unfortunately been broken to not trust this team, right? And if we don't, the other thing that does encourage me about this is that we're looking at Mike McDaniel in an airport wearing a really great gray suit, right? But he's flying commercial and he's doing these things and he's going around and he's going to Tennessee and he's going to Baltimore, and they put it out. Even the Ravens put out on Twitter that they had interviewed Mike McDaniel today. But until this deal is done and I see the press conference, I will not believe that John Harbaugh is the coach of this Giants team.
Well, I think
why. I feel okay. I look at the other teams and I look at why Harbaugh would go there, and no one else has a stable quarterback in this situation. Like Miami doesn't have a quarterback, and they're not, quite frankly, a well-run organization. You can say Pittsburgh has a lore, but they don't have a quarterback either. Well, they have a psycho, but he's probably not coming back.
Exactly.
So
I also
it's not going to be Cleveland. It's not going to be Tennessee. So that's I'm not. He canceled all the other interviews.
I also couldn't see Harbaugh going to the Ravens' biggest rival either. But, from what I've been reading and from what I've been seeing, the Titans actually, they've been a serious contender because he likes Cam Ward. And I also heard, from these reliable sources that I like to follow, that the quality of life down in Nashville is pretty good. And that's kind of important as well. So
I think, Seth, you might have a little bit of experience with that,
Yes, I do.
Nashville's a good time.
Yes.
Trip. Great. That's a good boys trip right there. If you're looking for a little hockey trip, maybe.
Jackalope Brewery. It's fantastic.
That was fun. Yes. So my thing is this, this is holding up the market right now. Like, you have all these openings. Like, what happens if the Bills lose? This isn't settled this weekend, and then Buffalo's job opens up, right? And my other point is that this has to get settled. Not that it has to, but they're not going to make an announcement like this during a game, right? And the playoffs start tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. So, for us to get some sleep, we'd like this to be done by then. Otherwise, we might be waiting a bit.
Yeah,
ahead, Jason.
I don't agree. I don't agree with Ryan here. If it was a GM situation, this would have gotten out earlier, and it wouldn't even have. It would have been a drop dead issue if they weren't going to do it. I don't think that's something you just discover 3 days later that it's a GM issue, Seth. I don't know.
Well, here's what bothers me, right? Is that they allowed the media to go at the Giants, right? Which clearly a lot of attention is on them, right? Where are we going from here is the key, right? Are we going to be an adult franchise now, or are we going to keep hiring half-assed offensive coordinators to come in and run this team? So you draft Jackson Dart, you draft Scatabo last year. You're building up the offense. The defense is workable. It's malleable, right? You can work with it. So you give that to Dayball, and he didn't. He puked all over himself in that week where what was it? Week like 6 or 7. When
boo.
yeah. I got preteen kids, man. What I can tell you.
Lord.
So he's like peeking into the tent, and you're like, Jackson Dart is because everyone's telling you Jackson Dart is the future quarterback of this team, right? And there's Dayball peeking into the tent, right? Bad play calling. So what do? They fire the defensive coordinator and they promote the offensive coordinator to coach. We've been over almost 10 years with offensive coordinators who have never coached full football teams in the NFL coaching the New York Football Giants, right? So it's time to grow up. It's time to step up. It's time to hire a John Harbaugh. Let's not fuck it up, right?
Yeah.
And here we are on the cusp of that, giving it to the New York Post. I'm sitting on a plane on Wednesday, 2 days ago, right? Reading about, oh, yeah, John Harbaugh this, John Harbaugh that. And I want that to happen, without a doubt. Contractual language, fine. Make it happen and get that press event out on Tuesday. And like I said, the only thing that I am encouraged about is that we're not looking at other teams trying to poach him and all that. All right. So if the Giants have cordoned him off, fine. But if we get to Tuesday and there's no announcement, I'm already worried by after the holiday on Monday.
Yeah.
If Tuesday rolls around and there's no press conference scheduled, I'm very concerned about the future of this team.
I think tomorrow by 4:30 is the key. I think this needs to get done. For us to feel secure about this, I feel this needs to get done by tomorrow at 4:30. I think if it goes beyond that, I think at some point there are going to be some real concerns, right? So I still think, we have about less than 24 hours, but if this goes past tomorrow, at kickoff, then I think we might have a problem. I don't even want to think of where they go. I mean, there are options out there. They need an adult in the room. We know that. They need accountability, and they also need a guy that's going to come in and not only make the team relevant, but you want to make this a destination for free agents to come, right?
Yeah,
you want guys around the league to believe in this franchise. You haven't had that in a number of years. You want to make this a place where people want to go.
Right.
Hey, Seth,
So-
did you see, Connor's last tweet about 45 minutes ago? It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Did you see that one? The Giants have never hired a head coach as accomplished as John Harbaugh, including Dan Reeves.
Yeah.
If he needs a parallel report with Joe Shane to the Maras to close it out, so be it. Ball is on the 1 yard line. Give it to Scatterbo, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, and he's kind of speaking in riddles here. It sounds like he wants someone else in the front office with Shane. If Shane stays, it's a little messy.
Joe Shane can't be the hangup. Joe Shane's lucky to have a job right now, the way I see it. Shane would be better.
But to counterpoint you, Seth, that could be why he is the hangup, because he's hanging on to his job, right? He is like, they brought him in at the same time as Dayball, right? And Dayball flamed out, and they cut him loose halfway through the season. Like, we can debate Schoen's fucking drafts, not bad. Brought in Brian Burns with the two teams that he actually communicates with, the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills, the two teams that he also worked for, as it turns out. But if you're attracting, like an adult in the room, and like Stefanski, fine, whatever. Maybe if the Packers, LaFleur is floating out there, right? Like, if you're trying to, I mean, if I were the Maras, I would be shutting off the discussion right now across the league to John Harbaugh. Right, like you don't want him to go to Atlanta. You don't want him to go to, you know, he's not going to take an OC job, right? And still, like after the Rams lose tomorrow, right, they're going to be looking for an offensive coordinator who's already looking for other jobs anyway.
Yeah.
Right, like John Harbaugh is the key to this entire offseason.
Yeah.
So if you're the marquee franchise, and good, the Pittsburgh job with I don't know what the draft pick is, right? And Aaron Rodgers is not going to be the quarterback for the Steelers when we get to September, right? You have a defense that is plug and play, almost like New York, almost like the Giants, right? Where are you going to go?
What I don't understand is, from everything I read from these guys, Shane and Harbaugh have really hit it off. So why is this happening now, right? I know these contracts are long. They're 30, 40 pages. There's a lot involved, billable hours for attorneys, whatever it might be. But I don't understand why this is happening now. That's the only thing. If these guys have gotten along, and Chris Mara, from what I've seen, is building a bond with John Harbaugh, why is this dragging? I just don't understand. Maybe you guys know. You're smarter than me, so maybe you guys know.
Well, I am not smarter than you.
I am not smarter than you. But thank you for insinuating that I would be.
Right. In this, I think in this environment, right, again, when you're trying to shut off John Harbaugh to other teams, right, you've done that. You've gone, and how do you fight that battle? You do it in the media. And you've got Twitter, you've got the New York Post, you've got ESPN all saying that the Giants have fenced off John Harbaugh, right? And then if they can't close, they can't close. So then what happens? That's the in my mind, that's the uncertain thing.
Yeah.
Right. Is like if he does end up not signing with the Giants, then it's a fucking free-for-all. Yeah. And let's say tomorrow the Bills lose in Denver.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott becomes a free agent, right?
Like hot seat. Yeah.
So you're almost like this deal should have been closed before the divisional round. And let's say, I mean, it's not like the Patriots are going to fire Vrabel. I mean, he's going to be the coach.
No, the Bills aren't firing. The Bills were only going to fire McDermott if they lost last week.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, and Peyton's going to be, he's going to stay in Denver. But I'm just for the sake of argument, I'm putting Sean, McDermott in that discussion, right? Like, let's say they lose tomorrow and he gets fired. So you've got Tomlin, Harbaugh, and McDermott all floating in like the senior coaching sphere above all these OCs and the Stefanskis and all these other people. Like, what happens then?
Yeah. So it's interesting to me with McDermott, right? I thought there would have been more pressure on him last week. If they didn't beat Jacksonville, I thought that would have been the time to really have that conversation. And to me, that was interesting because I thought these coaching situations might be settled by now and there might not be anybody left for Buffalo. But if this Harbaugh situation isn't settled by tomorrow, you still have all these guys out there, and maybe that changes Buffalo's thinking because from what I understand, even though the Bills have had injuries this year, Josh Allen doesn't have a lot to work with aside from Cook. They're very impatient with him up there. And if all these guys are out there, maybe that changes Beane's thinking up in Buffalo. So I think tomorrow at 4:00, I think that's the key. I do.
No, it's must-see TV, right? Like if they win tomorrow, then Sean McDermott or he gets a free pass, right? And he's like, I'm going to an AFC Championship game. If they come to the whether they go to Houston or whether they go to New England, like he's all set, right? But if they lose tomorrow, I think it's a very real possibility that they cut him loose. Yep. And if the Giants have not closed the deal with Harbaugh, that makes it very interesting.
I don't even, the fact that you're bringing this up, my mind is starting to wander a little bit. I'm pretty good at that.
Thanks. Dan's really tearing this apart here.
No,
well, I'm just saying.
I don't want this. I don't want this conversation now to be about, God forbid they lose Harbaugh. Where do they go? I'm not there yet, and I'm not ready to go there yet. I don't want to start naming names, but I'll tell you this: if this isn't settled by tomorrow, my mind is going to start to wander. So it will. All right, you guys ready for Kyle Tucker?
Maybe hold up. Maybe this will happen during the show.
Yeah,
maybe.
Right?
No, it won't. But all I'm saying, like the future of the Giants, like I was, sort of alluding to on my broken up phone call into the show last week, like the Giants need to step up and be a real franchise.
Yeah.
Right. Like we've gone through 6 offensive coordinators as head coaches, and it's not working. Right. Like it's time to show up and show out. And I think you have, and look, I'll credit Joe Schoen, right? And whether he allowed it to happen or not, they traded up for Jackson Dart. Yeah. And you have to give this fan base, they have to give us something to look at. And then you look at Dart's highlights minus the, concussions and all that other stuff. Like, yeah, okay, I can buy in that this guy from Ole Miss is our quarterback for the next X amount of years. And I compare this to Drake May, right, here in New England. And they are preparing for a playoff game, a divisional playoff game after winning a wild card game, after winning the division last week, right? So I want the Giants to be in that position next year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I guess, I'm just looking for relevance again, right? I mean, how many times over the last couple of years have the Giants made a bad play in a game and it's gotten national attention, or they collapse in the fourth quarter and everybody's laughing at them? I just want that to go away, and I want relevance, right? Whether it's 7 wins, 8 wins, 10 wins, obviously. I want to get to the point where you're talking about the Giants in the divisional round every year. And then, if Harbaugh can't get them past that, then maybe that's another conversation in 5-6 years.
100%, Seth. And I agree with you in that when, the Giants took the Broncos to overtime, right? The number 1 seed in the AFC, they took them to overtime earlier this year, and they blew a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, right? And I don't want to see that anymore. I want a team that's competitive, that can play against a hard schedule and win games and theoretically, compete for a wild card.
Yeah, I'm with you. I want relevance, and then we can talk about Super Bowl aspirations in 5-6 years.
Let me ask you this, Beef. Does John Harbaugh lend to that relevance?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of success level, he's had his struggles at times and hasn't been able to get the Ravens over the top, but he brings instant credibility. He's going to build a culture. He's going to establish a program. He's going to make New York or New Jersey a desirable place where players want to come. I think, a lot of the accountability issues that you probably heard about with Brian Dable, especially with Abdul Carter, falling asleep in meetings. I think things like that instantly go away. He's the commanding voice in the room. And if he brings in a guy like Monken, and I heard somebody say this, and it makes a lot of sense, Monken, his OC in Baltimore, it gives him, there's less of a runway. There's not as much of a transition to implement his system. So he, even though there have been some struggles and it might not have ended well in Baltimore, he checks all those boxes. They need an adult in the room, and that's what he is.
And the other thing is the NFC East is once again open for business. The Eagles, what gives you a thought that they're going to dominate next year? Because they're not. Cowboys are trash. The Commanders are trash. So it's open, baby. This is credibility. This puts you in contention for the division overnight.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you're hearing things about, Howie Roseman came out and made some cryptic remarks, and, maybe A.J. Brown could be on the block, right? So you got that. Jaden Daniels got hurt a lot, took a major step back. I don't think the Cowboys are anything special. I think they have a lot of holes defensively. Dak's not getting any younger. So I still think Philadelphia is probably the favorite, but are they the clear-cut favorite? No, but I think the division, if the Giants turn this around and get a guy like Harbaugh in, I think you're playing meaningful games through Thanksgiving and into December, and that's all you can ask for because we haven't had that in years.
Right. So what happens if Brian Daboll goes to the Eagles as an offensive coordinator?
I mean, listen, good luck. God bless.
I don't care.
No, listen, Brian
Doesn't matter. I just
Brian
don't care.
Brian Dable is highly regarded as a play caller. He is. And, he'd be reunited with Saquon, obviously. Brian Dable is a play caller. He's regarded that way now. I do think, and I have some friends in Buffalo, and I make some jokes about this from time to time when we call Brian Dable the Josh Allen whisperer. I think Josh Allen had plenty of talent before Brian Dable ever got there, obviously. So I think, let's just pump the brakes on Brian Dable, making Josh Allen who he was. But I don't think there's any doubt that Brian Dable has credentials as a play caller and an offensive coordinator. If that's where he ends up, So, Dan, do you want to make your picks?
All right, wait, let me look him up. Hold on. So this weekend, what do we got?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna wait. No, that was hold on, here we go. All right, tomorrow. Wait, I'm on the Cavaliers tonight to cover. I think they will. So the Bills, 1.5 dogs in Denver. I like the Bills there. Take the under 45.5. Don't think the Bills, and everybody here, like living in New England, right? It's like there's an inevitability about Bills playing the Patriots. And I think everyone here has sort of keyed in on that a little bit. I do think the Bills could win tomorrow. Right now on DraftKings, the over is -112, 45.5. I do like the under in that game just because it's a playoff game. Yeah. Moving on, Seahawks -7. I would take the 49ers and the points tomorrow, along with the under at 45.5. I think that's going to be a trenches game. That's an old school NFC West game. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we got to get a blackjack table in there as opposed to a craps table. And then we go to Sunday. So what do we got? All right. Right now we got the Bills. You know what? Take the money line, even money. No, actually, you could get 2-1 right now on DraftKings on the Bills tomorrow. I would take that and the under. That way you get a little bit of value out of that. The Seahawks tomorrow at 7. Don't like that. Take the 49ers at +7 and the under because that's going to be an old school NFC West matchup. But that 7 points is just too much. Sunday is the day. Sunday, man, that's going to be amazing. The Texans getting 3 at +100. Man, that is almost like printing money. I would take that, and I would take the Bears at +4.5 as a home dog every minute of the day right now. And that's not, you're not getting value out of that. So just, 4.5, they're probably going to win by 6 or 7 points. So the Bears are going to win that game in 33-mile-an-hour winds with snow potentially in the forecast. Take the +160. The Bears are going to the NFC Championship game, and that's the bottom line. And they're going to play the Seahawks in Seattle and probably maybe go to the Super Bowl. So there's the picks. Bills, take the money line at 100. Take the 49ers with the points. Take the Texans on the money line and take the Bears on the money line as well as home dogs. How could you miss? If not, just take the Bears and put all your money into the Bears because they're going to win at home. No doubt. Yep. Caleb Williams is the truth. Right? Jason, do you disagree?
I completely agree. I was locked in a couple weeks ago on Caleb. Actually, since that Niners game, even though he lost, I've been locked in on Caleb. That's why I was shoving him down Seth's throat. Seth is not a believer, and I think we almost made him a believer into the Caleb Williams fan club here. And we're making progress with Seth. I can tell. We're making progress. That is the most sure game. I agree with you. The Bears are the most sure pick of the weekend for me. I before the playoffs started, I sat here with Seth and I picked the Broncos and Bears Super Bowl, and a little controversial, especially on the Broncos side. So I have to stick with the Broncos this weekend. but that's a toss up of all toss ups.
Yeah,
Josh Allen is a cheat code in the playoffs. However, he's 0-4 on the road in the playoffs, Dan.
Is he? Well, no, he won last week in Jacksonville.
Wait, what did I see 0-4? Is it the NFC? Is it?
I would have preferred to have Jacksonville in place of the Bills because that would have been like a complete grenade in the room and everyone would get really weird. And I know bye weeks and I know home games and bye weeks and all that, But I do think the Bills will rattle the Broncos tomorrow. And in a wide, this is the, I feel like you had done this when we were in high school, right? Like we were, Jim Kelly and the Bills can't lose and they'll get to the Super Bowl. And if they get to the Super Bowl, great. That's what we're talking about here, right? The Bills can get to the Super Bowl in a short field with a team that did not play last week. So I would take the value and I'm talking value, right? Like that's what we're talking about. Plus 100, take the Bills on the money line tomorrow because it will pay as opposed to, and you can always kind of figure out where Vegas is sitting on this. And the line is at 1.5. Give 3 points to the home team for being at home.
Yep.
Denver's in the hole, right? And the money line is 120. All right. They think the Bills are going to win this game. So do what you want with it.
I get it. I like the Broncos. And, man, the Niners, convention says that they should break through here. Seahawks are good. Their defense is good. And the Niners didn't look good last week. I'm stuck on that one. So stuck on that one.
Classic Saturday night. Saturday night's original game. It's probably a toss-up, but if you're talking money line, there is value on plus 270 for the 49ers, right? I mean, it's a 7-point spread in a fucking division.
That's aggressive. Game. That is so aggressive.
It is. If you think about it.
Don't like playoff spreads that are that large.
Right. And I mean, the fact that the fucking Bears are 4.5-point dogs at home, like, come on. Like, I want to go back to the play. There was a 4th and what? It was a 4th and 8 play, right? Where Williams threw to Odunze to save the season, and then they went on to score a touchdown. Like that may have been the best throw I've seen in the NFL in 10 years, right? Like this team is not, not advanced. Like they are an advanced team. I think they're sneaky. I think they will beat the Rams outdoors at home in a bad environment. And you've got a Bears, maybe 49ers NFC Championship, which is chaos at its highest level.
These lines are so screwy, though. Even the Texans Patriots. Look, I get New England's at home, but they're being highly overvalued here against the best defense in the league.
Yeah, I mean, when we go back to Monday, right? The Texans defense scored 14 points in 8 minutes, right? That was more points than the Steelers with their future Hall of Famer quarterback put together in the entire game, right? And Drake I live in New England. Drake May, quote, Drake May, whatever. Like, he was very shaky in the first half of that game. And, yeah, I get it. CJ Stroud, not a great playoff quarterback, right? But if they can capitalize on those mistakes that the Patriots could possibly make, again, at home in the first half, then this game is over. It's over before the half. And I don't think that's how it's going to go, but you can still count on the Houston defense being the best defense in the NFL and making plays and scoring. So my pick of the week is the Texans defense to score a touchdown.
I was just going to say, I was going to look it up for what you'd get the payout for that.
I mean, super innovative after scoring 14 points last week in the second half.
You're really going on a freaking ledge there. Let me tell you.
But I think they can
Yeah.
carry it on because, I mean, we all saw it, right? Like Drake May was super shaky in the first half of that game. It settled down with that one long pass to Keyshawn Booty, and then he kind of like settled. I mean, and again, I'm not taking anything away from Drake May, because when he hit Henry for that touchdown, it was a thing of beauty, and that's what we pay to see. But I think if you can get in his head and you can rattle these guys around, anything goes, because the offensive line for the Patriots is not that good.
New England, Houston, it's plus 500 anytime defensive touchdown.
Take it, run it,
Gotta take it.
Buy your April vacation with it, because there will come. I mean, look, the Texans. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, end of his career, right? And now you've got pretty much a rookie playing against the same defense this week in a divisional game. Yes, at home, but if there are opportunities there, they will take them. I mean, the Texans defense is nasty. It's probably the best defense we've seen in a long time, right? I mean, Seth, you agree?
They're fierce. They're tough.
Yeah.
And I do think defense tends to travel, right? So that's going to be a low scoring game in my mind. So.
All right. So we're encouraging the under there, but I see the Texans defense coming off of a hot game in a cold environment in Pittsburgh, fucking up the Patriots. That's what I see, right? They rush for every fucking snap, right? So you got Al Shakir and others dropping into coverage, and that is not good for the Patriots.
What's interesting to me with the Patriots, right? And I know Vrabel's an experienced coach, and they have some experienced guys. Drake May's in his second year, but in this situation, they're kind of a young team, right? So over the course of the regular season, I've been waiting for them to kind of like choke in that big moment, and they haven't really done that yet. So, what I'm wrestling with, are these guys for real, or are they going to have that moment where they just fall apart? And so far, and I know they played an easy schedule, but you play the schedule and look how they finished and look what they did last week. I mean, they just dismantled LA, the Bolts, and Justin Herbert, and made him look silly. So,
all right, and that's where the Chargers have a shitty defense, right? They beat Tampa, who has also a shitty defense, but and also Herbert's has a high-powered offense. Like if Drake May had the same wide receivers that Baker Mayfield does, right, in Tampa, they would be far and away the favorites to win the Super Bowl, but they don't. Right. And I don't know, like you have a dual threat backfield with the Patriots with Stevenson and Henderson, but can that front four keep it up? And I think they can. And I think the Texans are going to win on Sunday, and the Patriots will be good again, much to our demise, for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Right. And they'll pick up with they're the dog that caught the car again, right? They didn't expect to be. They won 4 games last year. They won 13 games this year, right? Like they're not supposed to just move on from. It was like Didi Gregorius following Derek Jeter, right? And it was like, oh well, we got our next shortstop. It's like, well, you do have your quarterback, but where's the rest of it? Right. And Matt Light ain't walking through that door anytime soon to defend the blind side. So if they can find that, they will be good. The Patriots will be good for years, and they have their quarterback just like the Giants do, but they lose the game on Sunday.
So here's my thought. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
No, I agree.
I was going to give you some thoughts on what I'm thinking here. So Bills and the Broncos, right? Obviously, we keep hearing about this. Mahomes is out of the way. Lamar's out of the way. It's the Bills' time. I don't know if the Bills have enough weapons offensively, and I do think their defense is suspect in spots. People like to say, well, the Broncos played too many close games, but their record shows you that they won most of those close games, and they're playing at home. I think it's a close game. I think the Broncos win that game probably by about a field goal. So I'm going Denver there. I think Denver's going to pull it out. Niners, Seahawks. I'm going to go with Seattle for a lot of reasons. San Francisco is really banged up. No George Kittle now. I think they're going to be at a spot where they have to rely on Christian McCaffrey even more, and he's held up. But, it has been a long season. They have fought injuries, and, they have been banged up. I think playing in that environment is tough. I know San Francisco does it every single year. But that 12th man in Seattle, that's a legitimate thing. And Seattle did dismantle them in San Francisco, even though it was only a 10-point game, which is tough to do in a short period of time, after they did that a few weeks back. And I also think Sam Darnold has something to prove. I do think that game's within 7. I don't think any game this weekend is going to be a runaway, but I'm going to take Seattle there. Texans, Patriots, again, defensive-minded, low-scoring game. I keep waiting for that moment where the Patriots are going to fall apart. I don't know if they do here. I could see this probably being like a 16-13 type of game either way. I do think defense tends to travel. I do think the Texans are ready to take that next step forward. I think the Patriots will be around for a while. With Vrabel being there, I am going to take Houston. And the Rams and the Bears, I wrestle with the weather, right? Because Matthew Stafford's been around for a very long time. And given the team that he was with before he was with LA, even though it's been a while, he's used to adverse conditions. So I'm not entirely sure. Both teams have to deal with the weather. I know Chicago, they deal with it more than LA does. But, the Rams have some playmakers. I'm actually – to me, not Washington, they're out of the playoffs. Why am I saying Washington? Chicago's defense, they rely on getting takeaways, and, that's a tough way to play. You can't rely on that all the time. I'm going to go with the Rams in the upset here, and I'm going to take the Rams. So my chance.
But the Rams aren't an upset. That's the thing.
Vegas said they're not an upset. They would be an upset for Diamond Dan.
Well, not an upset, because everybody, I guess what I mean when I say upset is the fact that, everybody thinks the weather is going to impact the Rams. Like, that's the sexy pick. Let's take the Bears because the weather is going to be bad in Chicago. I guess upset was the wrong word there. So I think a lot of folks are taking the Bears or thinking the Bears, have a legitimate chance to win this game because the weather's bad. That might hurt the Rams. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you're going to have an NFC West, NFC championship game. The Rams and Seahawks in Seattle, and I think you're going to have an AFC championship game featuring the Broncos and the Texans in Denver, and that's where I stand going into the weekend.
All right. Okay. We'll compare notes on Monday.
A little variety.
But I think the parody's been great. Like I enjoy this. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'd rather have a dog in the fight, so to speak. But
I think that the Patriots are eminently beatable here. So, if you're looking for short money, just take the Texans. It's easy.
And when we make these picks, at least I feel this way. I could have picked the other way on all these games. I think you can make a case for all these teams this weekend.
Absolutely.
No, I agree. And to your point, that's parity, right? Like that's what you want out of a half a year league, right? And you get down to how many? 8 teams left, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's sitting here questioning until the games are played.
Yeah. That's exactly
right. What I want is the Giants, and I want the Giants to be part of that discussion in the NFC in an open year.
You know what I want? I want the Yankees.
The Rangers to stop sucking.
Well, that too. I want the Yankees to do something, the Rangers to stop shitting, the Knicks to stop losing.
They will.
Too much to ask for.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we get to this whole Kyle Tucker thing and what the Mets and Yankees, the latter, what they haven't done in response throughout the offseason.
Can we just stop for a second? This Wesley Steinberg Twitter feed.
Did he just get you? Did he get you?
Being the fake, not me, but other friends of ours that we all know, right? Are like, is there any truth to this? And this Harbaugh collapse with the Giants and this and that. I was like, how many people are going to follow or fall for this Wesley Steinberg guy?
It's such a good account, though. It's so good.
He's gotten me a couple of times, and I know what his deal is. But it's fun. He's just like a passive aggressive troll. I guess that's what I would.
It's like
call
the
him.
best parody count that I've ever seen because it's so real.
Well, he's
Well,
so like
and
his
you
name.
see it in your feed, and you're like, whatever. I mean, so I feel like it also channels what I also worry about. So, if they're like, "Oh, the Harbaugh deal has collapsed," you're like,
Yeah.
"Well, could have seen that coming." But I'm still, I'm trying to channel your positivity, Seth.
I don't know what it is with that guy, whether his tweets are so articulately written, right? His name is so formal, like he's an actual reporter, Wesley Steinberg. You just get lazy scrolling and you see something that looks legitimate, you could believe is actually true. So
Seth, you should start one. You should start one, Seth Canterberg. And
Jason Canterberg, I think that would be the right choice.
Oh man.
So all right.
Oh.
So
all right.
We all heard the news last night that Kyle Tucker was going to the Dodgers for an insane amount of money on a relatively short-term deal. So I think we'd all agree, and Jason, you've said this before, so I'll go to you on this. Nobody's really worth this, right? But you look at what Kyle Tucker's getting, and $60 million per year AAV, right? And then you look at what Aaron Judge is getting, $40 million per year, longer term deal. They're two totally different deals, but the Dodgers continue. You want to call it a loophole, whatever it is. Some of it's deferred. All these teams are deferring money, but this Kyle Tucker deal now, really more than any other deal, it seems to be fanning the flames.
I mean, here's the deal. We've all agreed the MLB system's broken, right? It's broken. You said it great last night. Shut it down. Shit's broken. You've got half the leagues not even trying, right? And then the Dodgers are able to sign everyone under the sun, deferrals, yada, yada. Their media contract's insane. Their owners are made of money. There's no limit, right? But here's the thing. Multiple things can be true. The baseball system can be broken, but I don't hate the Dodgers for it. I don't hate the Dodgers for it, right? They're doing what they're capable of doing, and they're very lucky that they can do that. What I think I'm really leaning on after 24 hours later is I hate the Yankees for not playing the game.
Yeah.
And that is where I'm at with this, because the Yankees are one of the few teams, along with the Mets, that can play the game. See, the Mets were in on Tucker, right? I feel the Mets actually tried. And the Yankees are sitting there stroking Cody Bellinger and obsessed with him as like their target. Like they have you believing that Cody Bellinger is the Juan Soto of this year and he's the most important thing out there. While that is happening, and nothing's happening, by the way, everyone else is coming off the board. Everyone else is coming off the board. And the Yankees are like, we're going to see what happens with Cody Bellinger. Well, Bo Bichette just went to the Mets this afternoon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Cashman is just asleep here. So my hate or my frustration is not the Dodgers organization. There's frustration toward baseball. But my real frustration, my real problem is the Yankees.
Yeah, I've had some time to sit on this too, and you and I and Dan have had some conversations offline, and instinctively, you may say, shut down the sport however long it takes. I think we'd agree that's no good for anybody not playing games, right? Like nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that happen. It affects, the players, they'll survive, but, people who work at the stadium, whether it's the ticket taker, who relies on that job, or the concession stand, or in the parking garage, whatnot, people rely on baseball being played. Nobody wants to see baseball go away. I think we all agree that something fundamentally is broken, right? So, you have teams like the Dodgers that go over the luxury tax, and then, you get the smaller market teams, and they don't necessarily do anything with the money. So I think, we'd agree that there probably needs to be a floor. There needs to be a cap. Tony Clark already digging in, saying there won't be a cap. So, I think we could be headed for trouble. I don't think we want that, but if that's what it takes, that might be what it takes. I've kind of shifted in my thinking over the last 24 hours like you. My frustration, and, it's only January 16th, but when I say it's only January 16th, the Yankees have their first workout in a month, right? So we're getting to the point where you're running out of time saying the offseason's incomplete. We only have about not even 30 days left, before pitchers and catchers report. So here's my problem, okay? This is my problem. And, it's nobody's natural born right to go to Yankee Stadium, right? You don't have to buy a $30 chicken bucket, hours. Although if you want, just a hot dog, a couple of beers, and you want to get something for your kid, then it's going to be close to that, even with a free ticket and free parking like I did last year. But I have an 8-year-old that's obsessed with Aaron Judge, and she wants to go. So, that's what we do.
You mean the underpaid Aaron Judge?
Right,
Because
exactly. This is my problem. And I think this is the problem a lot of fans have with what's going on right now. With everything the Yankees, and you see the TV commercials, and you go to the stadium. Dan, I just made my chicken bucket reference.
I heard it.
So,
it's true.
What I'm trying to say is, and Jason made the point that, his frustration has kind of shifted towards the Yankees, right? They're not playing the game the Dodgers are. Why aren't they? Right? If the Dodgers can do it, well, the Yankees should do it too. Everybody should do it. And some teams are with the deferrals. It's happening. With everything the Yankees try to sell you, whether it's on TV with their commercials, whether it's at the stadium, about the experience, pride, mystique, or a tradition, which died in 2009 or after 2009. And the fact that you spend all that money to go and nobody makes you do it, but if you do go and we all go, and then you're not seeing that money put back into the team. I think that's where the frustration is with the prices they charge for parking will go up again this year. And I don't want to hear the Yankees say they have nothing to do with the lot. I know how this business works. The Yankees do have a say in those prices. So, don't BS a BSer, right? It's all tied in. So my problem is with what they expect and what they try to sell you. And then, they try to tell you that the payroll is $320 million last year, but the payroll being what it is, the roster construction might be some of the worst roster construction in baseball. I know they have Aaron Judge, but you look at everything else up and down the line, the roster construction is pretty poor. So I think that's where the fans get frustrated.
You mean you don't like spending $25 million on Trent Grisham? That wasn't a good idea? Because I could have swore that was a wonderful decision.
What I don't like is this. Brian Cashman's running out of defenders, right? Like all of us, and I know he gets paid big money, and they have an analytics team, and they're all smarter than us.
Nerds.
And it's their job to spin, and it's their job to tell us everything's going to be all right. They'll compete, but after seeing this now for a long time, all of us cannot be wrong. And this seems to be the dominant opinion now. And that's my frustration. And I think that's the frustration of a lot of Yankee fans. And I won't speak for you guys, but I kind of know how you think talking to you guys all the time. So.
Look, man, if your goal is to sell chicken buckets, you'll sell chicken buckets, right? But eventually the real fans, look at, people showed up for the Giants games at the end of the season. People showed up for Jets games at the end of the season. But, if you're looking to win, I don't know. Like, what do you do in the offseason that promotes show up in April, show up in May, show up in June, and we're going to go compete for a championship? Right now, they are giving no signals to that.
My problem is the Blue Jays are doing it. That's the thing. The Toronto Blue Jays are willing to play the game and be super aggressive and show that they're in it to win it, right? So they beat the Yankees. They not just beat the Yankees last year. The
Blue Jays were 3 inches from winning the fucking World Series last year.
If they could run faster, they would have won the World Series.
Yeah. Right. And they can cut somebody on a Friday right? One of their marquee players and off to the Mets and they don't give a shit,
Mhm.
right? Like, are you like, here's the argument, right? Like, does Bo Bichette make the Mets better? Or, it obviously makes the Blue Jays weaker in a way, but over 162 games doesn't really matter. Like, is
I
this
like
a
Bo
guy?
Bichette.
I do too. But like, is that something like, is that a free agent you're willing to pay money for? Right. Like, Kyle Tucker is the same way. Like, would I pay
I would
$60
have
million
done-
for Kyle Tucker?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Well, you know what I would have done? I would have said, fuck you, Bellinger, with your 7 years. I would have signed Bichette to that short-term deal with the high AAV because that is a lower risk move, especially with the outs. I would have signed him. You would have gotten a better offensive second baseman, and you could have traded Jazz for pitcher or something else because he is absolutely someone that you could have traded. And I would have said, fuck you, Bellinger. I don't need the 7-year guy. And I would have absolutely gone in on Bichette. That would have been the smart move. But the Yankees are so obsessed with must sign Cody Bellinger.
I mean,
And that was
here's the thing, guys. Like, we're due, or the Yankees are due for a bad season. It's going to happen at some point. It's been a while. Like, the last time they had a bad season was 1992, right? When Buck took over and was rebuilding it with Gene Michael. There's going to be a bad season. The Yankees aren't going to finish 500 or better forever. And with what's going on in the American League East, I can't honestly sit here. I don't see the Yankees, unless you guys see something different. I don't see the Yankees being any better right now than a third-place team. I don't. I really don't. Baltimore's loaded up with Alonso and some other moves, obviously.
Well,
Toronto's done what they've done. Boston picking up Ranger Suarez, right? I think, I don't think Tampa's going to be great. They made
I'm
that
just
big
trying
move.
to Baltimore has to prove that they can bounce back here.
They can, but they were a
Toronto is
playoff
so
team
much
2
better.
years ago. They had a bad year. And they've addressed a lot of needs. And I agree with you. You got to play the games, yes. But I'm not seeing it. And even if they do bring back Bellinger and they don't do anything else, I'm still not seeing it. Because I think the other teams have made some serious moves, except for the Rays. I'm not worried about them. They let Fairbanks go. He went to the Marlins, and they traded Loud at Pittsburgh. But I'm not optimistic. I'm not optimistic.
You know who was on the 1992 Yankees?
Who? Alvaro
God,
Espinosa.
this is some. Don't slander Alvaro Espinosa. Every fucking week we throw him out there
That's
like
the
he was a
third week
bad
in a row.
Every week.
No,
every
he
week.
was not. He was not. He actually, Randy Velarde, Andy Stankiewicz played in shit. JT Snow, what a bunch of losers. However, Charlie Hayes was on that team.
Was Noakes on that team? Matt Noakes?
Pat Noakes was the catcher. But what I'm really getting at is the best player on that team was Mel Hall.
Oh boy, yeah, no. You know what's funny about Mel Hall? Nothing's funny about what he did. It's terrible about what he did.
Nothing's funny about Mel Hall.
It's awful. No, seriously, it's awful. But I went to the Rockland Community College, the RCC sports camp, and he came and signed autographs for us.
College.
Yeah.
I thought that's actually old for him.
I was a kid. No, I was a kid, and I was probably about 9 years old. 9 years old, whatever it was. And it was around 90, 91. And then Jeff Innes, a side armor for the Mets.
I remember Jeff. Rest in peace, Jeff Innes. Right?
Did he pass away?
I think
he signed autographs. He came up and signed autographs too, as well. So
yeah, Jeff Innes passed 3 years ago.
I have a picture of me and him somewhere. So, and then the Mets, of course, they go out and get Bichette today, and now you're hearing stories. Again, you got to be careful what you hear, but could they be in on Bellinger now? Could you imagine that? And Jason, you said this earlier.
Hope they get
him.
That would be. Let me tell you, if the Mets go out and get Bellinger right now, that would be wild. And their lineup is actually really good with Bichette today. The Mets lineup is their middle of their lineup is way better than the Yankees middle of the lineup. So don't let anyone fool you.
It's a much
Okay.
longer lineup.
I'd rather have Soto, Lindor, and Bichette. Like that's a now. Granted, I'd rather Judge than anyone. So I'm not trying to say that, but Judge's supporting cast is much worse than Soto's supporting cast. Is what I'm getting at.
You know, I heard somebody make
Right?
this.
Yeah.
I heard somebody make this point the other day, and I have no inside knowledge of this, but I do know that Judge obviously he's a great teammate, right? And he doesn't throw anybody under the bus, and he seems to like Boone, right? He always talks about how Boone has the respect of the room, as they all call it, which is fine. But I just wonder, and I heard somebody make this point the other day. I forget who I was listening to. You wonder if underneath it all, Judge is kind of getting frustrated with things. How, it reminds me in a way of Patrick Ewing with the Knicks. They never got that second guy. The Yankees had that second guy and Juan Soto, obviously, and he went and signed with the Mets. But you just wonder because Judge, he's not getting any younger. He's in his mid-30s now. He's not going to hit like this forever. So, Jason, you talk about this all the time, how they're wasting him and how they've wasted Cole. So you just wonder if underneath it all, Judge is kind of getting frustrated with the situation here. Not that he's going anywhere, but it would be an interesting
downturn.
dynamic.
It's only natural that you're going to start seeing a downturn in Judge and Cole, right? And Cole's injury rebound is going to be telling here. And how much do they have left for peak years? Because it's going to be even harder to win a championship as they decline if you haven't won one at their top. And that's a big problem.
People forget this. Judge got started late. He got started late. He didn't come up when he was 19, 20 years old. He got started around 23, 24. So, his career is going to be shorter. He's going to put up monster numbers, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. I'm not questioning that. But, his window is going to close. Or at least, he's not going to produce at this level probably after about, maybe 3 at the most 4 more years. He'll still hit home runs, but not like this, I don't think.
I would take that. I would take 3 more years of Judge Prime. I'm even concerned it's going to be that long. I mean, he's had his injuries, I feel like the Yankees not being it's not good. It's not
good. I also worry, and we talked about this last week, and I think you can get away with it in April and May, but with the off days, but their rotation's kind of short right now, right? So you don't have Cole, you don't have Rodon, right? Clark Schmidt, you're not going to have him for a little bit. So, I mean, I think there's some work to do with that staff. I think they got to get an arm somehow. I mean, I don't know if you swing a trade for Freddie Peralta. I'm not sure who you would move there. But I think it would have to be something respectable because the Brewers obviously want to contend, but the Cubs are going to be better this year, signing Bregman now, obviously. Yeah. So I wonder where they go in the rotation now because I don't think they have enough. In those games in April, people don't like to say it, but they count just as much as they do in September.
Yeah, I got nothing. I have such bad feel that the Yankees will be able to find to put up a more improved roster in a month from now. I don't even know what to say. I have no idea. I don't know.
We talked about this earlier, right? And I mentioned this to you guys. And what's going on or what hasn't gone on. And this will probably change, but it's hard for me to sit here and say that I want to go spend any money there this year, given what's going on. Now, something's going to come up. Dan's going to be in town. Jason, you and I will have a night off. You and I got a couple of connections at the ballpark here and there. It'll be somebody's birthday. We'll change our minds. We'll want to go. But as I sit here right now, the only money I plan to spend at Yankee Stadium is when the Savannah Bananas come to town and I take my 8-year-old there at the end of April. I'll probably end up getting a chicken bucket then, Dan. So
that's going to be a wild event. It's going to be sold out, the Bananas. It's going to be crazy.
Their thing. I'll tell you, I got very lucky. I entered the lottery and I got an email saying that they went through everybody in the lottery and they had a few extra tickets. So I jumped right on it. I got tickets, 3 tickets at face value. $40 a piece on the terrace level down the right.
$40. Imagine that.
Well, there are a lot of scammers on the open market or secondary market, I should say.
Yeah.
that charge like $300-400 for these tickets, and I've heard stories of some of them being fakes and people get scammed. But no, these are legitimate tickets through their website. So yeah, it's on a Sunday afternoon.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it'll be good.
They're good for the game. If it gets kids engaged, it's good. So to sum it up, Brian Cashman's a bum, and the Yankees are fucked. And we'd have to have, this is not exciting. This is not exciting at all. As we are in the dead of winter, it's like 15 degrees outside tonight.
Yeah.
I want to be able to think about baseball and spring training, and right now I don't give a shit.
I sit here though. My problem is I sit here and I keep waiting for the Yankees to be that team that they were in the early 2000s up until 2009. Oh, Cashman's going to get something done. He's going to make a couple of big moves. They're going to be like the Yankees again. But after hearing Steinbrenner in the fall saying, well, we may, anything can happen, but we'd like to keep the payroll under 300 essentially. And right now I think they're at about 286. So you put all the pieces together and you think to yourself, if they don't get, you hope they get Bellinger, but if they don't, is this going to be it? And if it's not it, what are they going to get to kind of plug those holes? But I guess my point is I keep waiting for the Yankees to be the Yankees again. I'm not sold that it's going to happen. I think that's being kind of detached from reality.
But the scary thing is we're all aligned here. So
and then,
no one's trying to tell you different.
There's one more point I want to make, then we can transition to a couple more things before we got to go.
Oh, great. We got to talk about the fucking Rangers.
Yeah, I know. Taki is tuning in from Japan, and he wants to hear your take.
I don't think anyone wants to hear my take.
But a lot of people today, because, Yankee fans like us, initially were very upset with the Dodgers, and I think our frustration is going to the Yankees. There are people that are calling us as Yankee fans hypocritical because the Yankees did this. That, to me, is a lazy argument. It's a
very lazy. Very lazy.
Right. It's not true. It's flat out not true. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why it's not true. It's not true because the Yankees were built on homegrown guys, starting out with Bernie Williams, then Mo, obviously Pettit as well, Jeter, you name it. A lot of homegrown guys. They plug the holes with free agents. There was a little bit, there are a few times where they got gluttonous and maybe signed a few extra guys, but they didn't always work out. Like guys like Giambi didn't always work out. Granted, they signed Teixeira, they signed Burnett, and they helped them get over the top in 2009. But those Yankee teams were built on their minor league core. Who on the Dodgers is homegrown? Not too many guys.
But here's the deal. And this is what I say about, I just said it about Vegas Golden Knights too, because they haven't done anything homegrown since they've been a team. If you have a competent front office and you're able to build a team in acquisitions, good for you. If you build a championship team, team, good for you. The problem is some teams can't do either, and the Yankees are one of those teams that not only can't they develop anyone, they can't freaking make a good move, the right signing, the right trades, and build a roster. So I'm not a guy that says, you have to have prospects and they have to work out. But you got to do something. You have to be good at something.
Yeah. The one guy you can think of on the Dodgers who's homegrown is Will Smith, right? But, you look at the rest of that team. And, look, they have a savvy front office. They have the resources. They have a lot of things in their favor. They know what they're doing. I think it's turning into jealousy that my team isn't doing what they're doing, and they should be capable of it, given where they play and given their history, and they're just not doing it. So
what the Dodgers did is they took the Rays front office and they said, hey, you guys are really good. Why don't we hire you and give you unlimited money on top of you being really good? Oh, shit.
That's true.
All
right. Knicks or Rangers?
No, fuck. Bedtime.
Yeah, no, we're getting there. We'll close out soon. I'm getting rocky myself.
Oh,
Taki's been tuning in. He wants to hear your reaction. To Chris Brewer's
all right. Knicks, they'll be back. Don't worry.
I just, Dan,
yeah.
I agree with you, and I think it's kind of like a midseason swoon, but I'm seeing things that just concern me. Like Jason, you were talking about this last night, and it's really true. You know, you see like these extended lapses, like they fall behind early in games, and by the time they get back into it, it's too late. And I think it's not fair to judge a coach by what you see on TV. And I'm not saying you hear things behind the scenes that Mike Brown lays into his guys when he needs to. But, I'm not seeing that emotion. I'm not seeing that frustration, when things go wrong at times. I don't know if he's holding guys accountable. I would like to think he is, right? But, he's using the rotation more. He's going deeper into the bench. I think they're playing a style that could suit them more in the playoffs. But I think the most alarming thing that I'm seeing with this team right now are the lapses, right? And the lack of grit at times. And we talked about, well, do you make a trade for a guy like Giannis in season? I think we all agreed, well, you probably wait until after the year. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull something off like that, but I'm just wondering if this team is constituted can get over the finish line this year. I'm having some serious doubts.
I think they're soft. They're playing soft.
Yeah, they are playing soft. They're
look. I agree with this. I was gonna say, Cat is the softest big man you're ever gonna see, and if he's the Brunson's 1A, he's not that guy.
He's not. I said this last night. He's kind of like a poor man's Ewing in a sense, right? You remember, Ewing used to take
Don't you dare put him in the same breath as Patrick.
No,
Ewing.
I'm not. I said poor man's.
Wow.
But
very poor man's, like dead man.
He takes a lot of perimeter shots, and this is kind of who he's been throughout his career. And I just don't know if this team, the way it's built right now, I'm very nervous in a year where they should get out of the East. Here you go. You have the Pistons who are playing very well. I think they're clearly the best team in the East, and they dismantled the Knicks. I think I don't know what they're going to move. I think it's hard to make a move without breaking up the foundation of this team, or maybe you need to get a third team involved. I'm just concerned that this team is kind of lacking that grit factor right now, and that makes me worried.
The Suns bodied them the other night. Just destroyed them physically.
Too much physical play.
And I it's hard for me to worry about seeding right now, but you don't want to be – these games matter. You can make your arguments about the NBA season being too long. It's not relevant for this conversation. You don't want to be in a situation where you fall to like the fourth seed, right? And then you have to play a team like Detroit in the second round. Like, you want this to be the best possible scenario. You want that one, you want the two, or you want the three. You don't want to fall to the four, because once you start falling to the four, the matchups start to become unfavorable for you. It's not going to be an easy road in the playoffs, but the Knicks are too good to fall into a spot like that in a year where it's wide open for them. And Dan, you see this up there. Like, I don't think anybody expected Boston to be this good. And to the point now where maybe, you're probably hearing more about this than we are down here. Like, they're talking about Jason Tatum possibly coming back. That's becoming a real thing, isn't it?
I don't know. We'll see. But, they're, like I said last week, we'll be in the building for the Knicks playing the Celtics in 2 weeks on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. And
we'll see. I mean, I think that will be a great bellwether. The Knicks will come off a long West Coast road trip without Brunson, or was it last night? And they lost last night against Golden State. And you get back to the East and you start, settling into the rest of the season. So it'll be a really interesting game for the rest of I think just, to see where they're at, right? Because they're going to start playing East Coast teams again.
See, that's what scares me, right? Like last night, can you overcome Brunson not being there, So, I don't know. I
didn't cover last night, I'll tell you that.
and I've mentioned this the last 2 weeks. Like, they're hitting the soft part of the schedule right now, and it's still soft. I think, they have some room to make up for things here. But, this trip, I know going out to the West Coast is tough, but the teams they're playing, Phoenix is pretty good, and they got Phoenix again at home. So you'd hope that they can,
Mm.
respond there. But the Warriors aren't the same. Obviously, losing to the Kings was just dreadful. I mean, that's just how do you lose to the Kings?
Yeah, I think they're dragging out a little bit. And right before they play the Celtics here in Boston, they play Washington in Washington on, I think, the 3rd, right? So 5 days before, and that's with Trae Young, and that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a good bellwether for how the rest of the season's going to go.
You got the Nets.
I still think they'll be a top seed, right? And they'll still make noise down the stretch once the whole team's back together. But those couple of games will tell you a lot what you want to know about the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I hope so. I hope so because I think they got a few more years. We've talked about this. You just don't want the window to close. That's the only thing. So we'll see. They got the Nets coming up. They got the Mavericks. The Mavericks are bad. The Nets are no good. I mean, they're a little better than last year. So they have some opportunities for some wins.
Yeah, show us something, right? Like come back from this trip. It's a long trip. It feels like a eternity from the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
So when you get back in the Garden, right, back in the Mecca, like show us something, and then go on the road, beat a good team like the Celtics, beat some good team, or some marginal teams with new players like the Wizards, and we're having a different conversation in 3 weeks.
And don't fall behind by 10, 15 points when you get out of the gate.
The other thing is like the Knicks at the beginning of the season were a great third quarter team, right? Like, so you could go into halftime down 5, down 7, down 10, whatever, and you knew they would come back. And now that's a little shaky. Yeah. But, I still think, they're going to be there when we get to the end of the season, and, the East is wide open. So, in the same way that the Bills are going to, sneak in, or what everyone was saying about the Bills, right? Like there's nobody in their way until they get to the 1 seed, right? So who's going to be the 1 seed in the East when we get to the NBA playoffs, right? So the Knicks are good until they're not.
Yeah. I agree. Hopefully I'm overreacting. All right, Jason, Drury's letter to the fans. Taki's been waiting. You just take it away. You and Dan are the hockey guys, so I'm just going to let you guys roll it.
We're going to close with this, and I think I've said plenty about Chris Drury being the worst executive in not just New York, but I'm starting to feel he's the worst executive in sports right now.
Worst executive in New York.
Oh, by far. Think about it like this, Dan. He took a team that was on the doorstep of a Stanley Cup final, and two years later, they don't make the playoffs, and they're going to not make the playoffs for 2 years in a row, and they're one of the the bottom 5 teams in the league now. That man is the worst executive in New York by a long shot. It's not even close, and he's one of the worst in sports. The hilarious thing here is not that he realized we need to do something about this team, and we're going to have to trade Panarin because it's a free agent, and they're going to have to moves. The funniest fucking thing about this is he wrote another fucking letter. Like, you don't do the same bit twice, right?
Right.
We got a letter.
And you do it at the end of the season after you've let down your fans, right?
We got a letter from JD and Gorton, and that was all like, oh, wow, there's going to be a rebuild. All right, cool. Like, their window's closed. How the hell do you then write another letter like 4 years, 5 years later to the fans again? Like, how do you just go on TV and answer some fucking questions? God forbid you should get, in front of the media and answer a couple questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in the NHL, like, you don't see GMs in the same way you see the NFL or, Major League Baseball, but putting out a letter, I find it weird, right? To sort of, the Rangers got ripped against Boston here in town last weekend and then lose a pathetic game on Wednesday at home. Right. And as ticket prices are going like this, I'm sure
you
the
can get in for under $60, which is
right.
Crazy.
The anxiety is going like this amongst the Dolans and the Drury. So they put out another bullshit letter, and they're like, oh, the ESPN banner, like Taki's banner there says, well, there was a meeting with Panarin beforehand. And it's like, really? If they're going to just trade everybody and dismantle the team. What was it? What did I say earlier? It was like, they put retool and build
Problem.
like the two words next to each other.
We're
It's
not
like, just say
rebuilding,
what
we're
it
retooling,
is.
but here's the problem. You can't trade everybody, and that's actually the problem. By the way, let me address Taki's question first. Chris Drury's not being fired. He is Isaiah Thomas 2.0, and he has got an inner ear to Dolan. And I wish I could laugh about it because, guys, quite frankly, this is not a laughing matter. So you need to stop laughing. This is fucked up. Okay, we got an Isaiah Thomas 2.0 situation in Madison Square Garden. This man writing the letter and his name being on the letter today tells you he's not going anywhere.
Right.
Right?
Have the
Not
Rangers
going
won a game
anywhere.
since the game at Lone Depot? Like the outdoor game. Have they won a game since then?
I have no fucking idea. I can tell you they've been outscored like 100-3.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
Like,
So
like,
they win
that was a
outdoor
mirage,
games.
but that was the mirage anyway. Like that was one of those like, oh shit, they're really good at outdoor games bullshit things. We all knew how bad they really were. No, they have not. They've lost 3-2, 5-2, 10-2, 4-2, and 8-4. And the 4 goals was only because Ottawa stopped playing.
All right, and this is all before the All-Star, right?
Oh, but there's no Olympic break, so
well, whatever.
you gotta.
So you
They're
get
playing
the
Philly.
which Adam
Wait,
Fox is.
This is what's funny. They're playing Philly, and then they go out west for 3 games. Jesus Christ, they're never gonna win another hockey game ever again.
Well, it's lean times for the Rangers.
Here's the problem: you're stuck with possibly an over the hill JT Miller. You are probably stuck with Mika Zibanejad. So the only guys you should keep are Sheterkin, Fox, and Gavrikov. Those are the only guys you should keep. But I think you're screwed, and you're stuck with these other scrubs, these freaking losers. These JT Miller. I'm going to change the culture. What the fuck you doing?
But here's my thing, right? So you bring in the coach to bring in stability and hopefully get you to where you want to go one day. So what's going to happen there? Are you going to change the coach again? Is it the coach? Obviously, it's not. I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's Drury more than anything else.
Well,
what? Or is the coach just going to say this isn't what I thought it was? Forget it.
Sullivan was here to win. I can't. With Sullivan is not a rebuilding coach.
No,
and I actually think he might be a Crosby merchant because I'm not so sure about this.
The guy on his bench, David Quinn, he's a rebuilding type of guy, but been there, done that with him, right? So
stop it with David Quinn. Cut the shit.
I mean, personnel is policy, right? And you put out 2 lines that can't play or that aren't fast and can't compete, then you're in a pickle.
The slowest hockey team. They all skate around like
they are slow.
This is. I mean, it is ridiculous. And I went to opening night. God, that seems like it's been three moons ago. I went to opening night and I was like, what is wrong with these guys? Like,
man, Taki is he's got the knives out, huh?
I actually feel bad. Like, we're bad friends. I feel bad that we made Taki, 13 hours away, like wait an hour and 10 minutes for this entertainment,
It's the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it that he's so into it that he'll watch. We have to get Taki on the stream.
What is it, like 10 o'clock in the morning over there on Saturday?
Will Taki join? Yeah. Will Taki join? Can we get him on?
I mentioned he's welcome anytime. No,
good.
Yeah.
I want to get some insight onto some prospects.
And think about it. He's on the other side of the planet, and he has to expose himself to this terrible bullshit with the Rangers, the Giants, with the Yankees, with the Mets. When's the fucking U.S. Open? It's past noon. Is the sun out in Tokyo?
You know what I thought today? I actually have to laugh. The first person that sent me the letter, I thought it was the letter. I thought it was a joke, and it was a parody of the letter number 1. And I was like, "There's no way the Rangers sent another letter out." And then I was like, "Holy shit! It's a new letter with some whiteout, and they like changed a few words."
He didn't write the letter.
No, he did. No, wait, no. I let me give you a theory on this. because I thought about this and I was like, this is not this is a Drury letter. This is Drury getting out ahead of things to be like, I got this, Jim. I got this.
Oh, I'm the man.
Totally Drury's letter. I have no, actually, no, he took JD and Gorton's letter and then he repurposed it. But yeah,
Right.
he signed it.
But again, doing it mid-season after 2 pathetic blowout wins or losses, right? You know, you're like, come on, really?
So explain this to me like I'm a 5-year-old, right? So I thought, and I hate to really, depress you at the end of the night here, but I kind of enjoy it. It's kind of fun for me. So I thought Dolan made a preemptive strike on Gorton and JD, right? So knowing what this team is going through right now, knowing what's happening, the fans are turning on Drury and the boos are growing louder every night to fire him. How can Dolan just sit there and allow this to happen? I don't understand. That's what I don't get. So you can't make the argument that he's not involved in the hockey operation because he did fire JD and he did fire Gorton, but now that things have gone really south, he's backing off. I don't get it.
Have you not been a fan of the Knicks and the Rangers your whole life?
The whole thing is puzzling to me. And I think
do you understand James Dolan and his henchmen have their guys? Right? They have their men, they have their guys.
Taki thinks that Drury has something on Dolan.
It's one of those and I actually think Drury convinced him to fire JD and Gorton. Like that, I do actually think it was that deep of a fucking conspiracy. Like Jim, I could do a better job than those guys. Jim, they don't have it. All right, Chris. Okay, Chris. What the fuck am I role playing for on here? What is wrong with me?
I'm looking at Rangers pricing on the secondary market because I did see them go into the 50s the other night. And I said this to you. I said this to you because the Gardens always, in theory, the Gardens always get a sellout, right? It's a destination, tourism, even, people always want to go. It's a place to be seen, whatever. But what I said to you was, you'll know things are getting bad when you see the prices on the secondary market drop. And when we were talking about that night, they dipped like into the 50s. So there you go.
Yeah. Listen, I'm serious when I tell you this is going to be a bad hockey team for at least 5 years.
Ooh. That bad.
Like Dark Ages, even the Dark Age teams had some exciting players. This is going to be very bad. This is bad.
All right.
There's no help. There's no help coming.
Yeah. What an inspirational, enlightening, upbeat podcast we did.
Let's bring everybody back right now by giving our last football picks. The Rangers are bad. Yes. The Knicks will come back. The Yankees are the Yankees. But tomorrow, who are we taking tomorrow? The Seahawks, the Bills, the Texans, and the Bears that would get you to where you want to go this weekend.
I took so far one player prop of the weekend. Dan, I just want to get it right, so give me 1 second.
Shakir is going to score a touchdown tomorrow, and you'll all be thanking me tomorrow on Monday.
I did Josh Allen 208 passing yards and anytime touchdown score, of course, together. Plus 370.
There you go. Shakir's given Shakir's given 245. I think Allen throws the ball at the goal line tomorrow. Let's have a weekend.
It'll be a fun weekend. We will not watch the Rangers, and I'm very cautiously watching Knicks games this weekend. I don't feel great about it. They're playing the Suns again tomorrow. It's at home, though. You know what? That's a big one for me. Knicks Suns at MSG tomorrow night. That's a big one for me.
The Suns beat them. They're not a terrible team.
Seth, the Knicks, they beat them up. It's not just they beat them. They fucking destroyed them.
Yeah, they're not a formidable team, but they're a good team, and I think tomorrow's a good test given the way the Knicks have been playing lately.
Do not watch Rangers Flyers at 1:00.
Is that tomorrow?
I got a couple of days
At 1:00.
so I will not be watching that one tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, in Philly.
I gotta
at
wash my
1:00.
hair.
Thanks, Mighty. That's gonna be brutal. I have to wash my hair too.
But like tomorrow should be like if all
It should
things
be
are going
quick, though.
well, tomorrow should be like a day we call a NATO, right? Like you have the Rangers and you have the football, the 2 games, you have the Knicks like this weekend, and then you got the hardball thing looming. So
We've covered that.
I was hoping we'd get something to break on our show, but
no.
so far nothing.
Well, I got the news that it was close at like 2 a.m. the other night. I opened up my eyes. I was in bed and I saw Twitter going crazy, and I looked, and it looked like Harbaugh was getting done. That was, I guess, Wednesday, and here we are. So maybe it'll happen again. Maybe I'll have to get up for something in the middle of the night, and then it'll get done at like 2 in the morning, and we can all move on. So
yeah.
All righty.
So good luck this
Right.
weekend, everybody. May your wagers become reality.
Yeah.
Enjoy that football.
That's
It'll
what
be
they say.
great.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for your group therapy session tonight.
No, it was good. It was good. We'll see. Maybe we might have a reaction Monday or something like that. So
Yes.
all right. Be well, gentlemen. We'll talk. Stay well. Thanks for everyone.
But good night.
All right.
Bye-bye,
See you
everybody.
later. Bye.